What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of NFL Turf Talk. I am here with my faithful co-host, Scotty. You can find him on Twitter at Scotty Drowned. And, of course, you can find me on Twitter as well at DylanJD98. And we are streaming to you guys live today through DSM Media's Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook accounts. So if you're new to the channel, head on over to at DSM_media on Twitter. You can find our link tree in our bio to take you to every social media platform available. We are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcast as well. So check us out wherever you consume your content or your podcast. We are literally everywhere. And welcome to NFL Championship Sunday. Scotty, it feels like the season was just beginning. It feels like we were doing our divisional outlooks this year, predicting who would win each division not too long ago. And here we are. We're about to find out who's headed to the Super Bowl this season. So a lot to talk about today. Some breaking news from yesterday that's not so much guaranteed news anymore. We don't know what the truth is. Big Ben retired, so a lot to discuss today with that generation of quarterbacks, with the new generation of quarterbacks being on display today in Mahomes and Burrow. But first and foremost, what's going on, my man?
Hey, you know it. It's Championship Sunday. Obviously the Birds aren't playing this weekend, which is always a little disheartening each year, but nonetheless, I'm still excited for NFL football. This is the best of the best. This is what we look forward to each year. Right. Obviously, we root for our teams, but it's not always your team that makes it. And, these are the best of the best. This is going to be some of the best football that we've seen. Don't know if it can match last weekend, but, as far as talent levels and looking at skill sets, teams, players, like superstars on each team, this has the making that it could be as big as last weekend. We just got to hope that, especially me, I got to hope that these underdogs show up today and come out to play like I'm expecting them to. And we should have a very entertaining afternoon ahead of us.
Yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting show simply because you and I think, are on opposite ends of both games today. So
we are never like that.
What's up?
We're never on the opposite
ends.
No. We're usually on the same page.
Actually, last Sunday we were.
We were again, yeah.
And your boy went, oh, no, I went 1-1 because the Bills blew it.
Yeah, the Bills blew it.
I remember, I only said that because I was watching with George Ryder, and I was like, damn, bro, I went 2-0, literally with 13 seconds left in the divisional round. And we know how that ends.
So it's so funny because my girl said the same thing to me. She's like, "Oh, you suck at picking games."
Yeah.
I was just like, "All right, I went 500." Like, what are you talking about?
Scotty flexed in overtime. Scotty was like, "There we go." But
I needed
it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see, where we stand for both of these games. Kind of our mindset on both. I know the later game is intriguing because you are. I think you are on the side of where I think a lot of people are on this game, and I love
Weirdly enough.
I love everyone just sticking with the streak. It's a bad matchup. I freaking love it. So we'll get into that later. But first, do you want to start with the quarterback news, or do you want to get right into Chiefs Bengals?
We can definitely talk about Tom Brady a little bit. Obviously yesterday, getting that news that Tom Brady, retired. We got that from Adam Schefter, which, I think we talked about it a little bit before we came on the air here, but if that's untrue, like if it comes out and Brady didn't retire, like what credibility does Adam Schefter hold at that point, right? Like that's our most trusted. I don't know about you, that's my most trusted NFL reporter. Like if it comes from Adam Schefter, I'm trusting it 120%. And a mishap like that yesterday, and even regardless if Brady retires or not, the fact that they didn't allow him to announce it himself, like which would obviously be the reason that he tells everybody right now that he hasn't made that decision and then goes and does it. Like, give that man his own time to release that type of personal information about like a guy with such an illustrious career, right? Like, I just don't get that. Like the media just tries to hop on things so quickly, and it ultimately like ruins these moments. Like, you know how much better it is to hear it come from Tom Brady than Adam Schefter anyways? Like, I don't know. How do you feel about that? I don't like it.
Big Ben got an entire tribute video released when his time was up. Now, listen, do I think that Tom Brady's not retired? No. think Tom Brady's done. I think where there's smoke, there's fire, and that report wouldn't have been put out if not true. But to your point, like let's say hypothetically, it's not true. Let's say Tom could just be feeling spiteful right now. Tom could just be saying, you know what? I wanted to announce it. You want to do that? I'm going to play next season.
One
just
more
so you
season.
look like a fool, right? Not going to happen. But my point is, if Schefter reports that, and that's not true, Adam Schefter's career is like done. Like not literally.
Like a huge miss.
Dude, you falsely reported the greatest of all time's retirement. Where are you being trusted again? Like you turn into a meme, you turn into an absolute joke. No one's going to take you seriously anymore. But you're right. When Adam Schefter says something, it's like Woj or Shams, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Heyman with the MLB, or there's a few each in each league.
Yeah,
and Schefter's the top dog when it comes to the NFL. So trust me, I believe that Tom Brady is done. But it's just weird. Like his whole family's denying it.
Yeah.
He didn't come. I saw Edelman made the post. Like he put up a picture and said, thank you. And then I saw like him comment on it and say, why can't one guy thank another guy without assuming he's retiring? Like, come on, man. Like you got a call from Tom saying, yo, dude, you didn't hear this from me. So don't be out on social media. The team doesn't even know it yet. He hasn't. The Bucks haven't. Don't know that
Jason Lightman, their GM, he has not heard from Tom Brady yet. So
it's not officially official, but I think Tom Brady is retired, and that's a weird thing to say, man. It's really weird. What it ultimately comes down to, it's not the talent level, it's not the physical thing. We just saw this man almost make another championship appearance today. If it wasn't for a spectacular throw and catch by Stafford and Cooper Kupp last weekend, he played at an MVP type of level for a majority of this regular season. He was phenomenal. He can still do it with the best of them. But there's a human aspect to sports that we talked about earlier in the week that a lot of people don't want to acknowledge. Like I remember some people were commenting, I forget who it was, but saying like, football is in his blood. Like he's going to play till he's fit. No, he's not. Like he's got kids that are growing up right now that he's missing a ton of time for. His family's putting things on hold for him. Gisele's career is not on hold, but I'm sure she can't do some things because Tom's still playing football at 44 years old. You know what I mean? The human aspect comes into it. And when these kids are, probably entering middle. I don't know how old his kids are, but they're probably close to high school at this point, right?
Yeah.
So now you got to think about that and where they're going to go to high school and where you're going to live. So I think that caught up to him. It's not just a decision for him anymore. It's a decision that his whole family has to make at this point of his career. And I think another thing is, don't get me wrong, would we have loved to see like the storybook ending of Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl, still playing at peak performance and then bouncing? Yeah, it didn't happen that way. But I much would rather Tom go out like this on his own terms, still playing like a GOAT, than what I saw my favorite quarterback of all time look like in Denver that final season when he won a Super Bowl. When I'm talking about Peyton Manning, like get out, like Big Ben. We just saw what happened with Big Ben, right? Get out before that memory you have in people's minds doesn't go away, but it starts to fade. Everyone's always going to know Tom Brady is the GOAT. But if he went out like Big Ben did, or like Peyton did that year in Denver, people's picture of him is going to be a little tainted because they're going to remember the recency of what he looked like in his final season.
Yeah. And, even just looking, I think everything you said hits right on the mark. Like, I agree. He deserves to get to spend some time with his kids. Like, us as selfish football fans, like, I get it. He deserves to spend some time. He's already missed precious years. You talk about the wear and tear on your body. Like, that's a whole other
he's going on 50 years old.
And he's one of, obviously he's like the LeBron of the NFL who just takes care of his body on another level. But like, still, getting hit in the head, like, does affect the rest of your life. And I just remember him in that previous game last weekend, and his mouth was bloody. He's getting knocked around by Aaron Donald, like, of all people. You know what I mean? It's like, he's gotten to this stage in his life. Like, what if he comes back next year and has like a broken leg or something? Like, that's so much harder to recover from at his age. And I think that was part of it. Like, he saw what happens if he doesn't have all the talent in the world around him as well. And he's at this stage in his career where maybe he just doesn't want to take those hits anymore. And I get that. Like, I think that's
How about
perfectly
the fact
valid.
that obviously it's not going to happen because of when he had kids and how old his children are, but he's at the age where he could technically be a grandfather.
Yeah, literally.
If timelines got like he's that old, I don't think people, realize that.
Yeah.
He could be a pop-up. Okay.
Yeah, literally.
Like, could you imagine he's got a 2-year-old grandson and he's still slinging it in the Super Bowl?
Like you said, like getting his kids into like if they are in those high school, puberty years,
Right.
he's gonna want to see them if they're in sports, whatever they're doing. He's gonna want to be a part of that. He's gonna
coach whatever he wants to do.
Exactly. So and that's the other side of it. Like, let's be honest, Tom Brady has the personality, the aura, like. He has the characteristics to be very successful even after football if he wanted to do something associated with football. He already has his own podcast. Like, he can be successful in so many other avenues. It's honestly not worth it. What else does he have to prove? Like, really? Like, even after last season, he didn't really have anything to prove this season. This would have just been another notch, up of impossibleness to match. So
yeah,
I'm with you. Looking back, it did cause me to look. Obviously, Big Ben's already retired. Tom Brady's looking like he's going to retire. We don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to retire, but you never know, right? Like it. And you think about these 3 quarterbacks, and maybe this is something we'll talk about later on, maybe in the offseason even, but just thinking about what we grew up watching, like these 3 quarterbacks, we saw Drew Brees a few years ago. You mentioned Peyton Manning a few years before that. Phillip Rivers.
Yep.
These quarterbacks are gone, man. And this is kind of the last, it's kind of that last bit of that.
He was it. He was it.
And, looking at these quarterbacks, I'm not going to get too far into the numbers. All 3 of these quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben, and Tom Brady, are all top 10 in passing yards and touchdowns in NFL history. And that is just insane to me. All Hall of Famers. And that's something I just wanted to bring up, give them all kudos, because that is just insane to see 3 quarterbacks, one come into the league around, the same time, the same era. And now they're all, at that point where they're considering leaving. And it's been amazing to watch them. I don't think I appreciated it as much as I should have.
I would like to think that Tom got done, Sunday, a little before kickoff for the Chiefs-Bills game, took a shower, got home, and caught. He saw the ending of the Bills and Chiefs game. Yeah. I would like to think that he saw that quarterback performance and was like, I can leave now. Like I can rest now. The league's in good hands.
Yeah.
I don't need to be doing this anymore. I don't need to be the face of the league and carry this company anymore. We're good.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You know what they did, Scotty? They won a Super Bowl last year, and they ran it back. They ran it back with a shitload of talent.
Which makes sense.
And let's be quite honest, I'm not saying they're the favorites, but if Chris Godwin doesn't get hurt, if that defense isn't a little nicked up, if AB doesn't do jumping jacks and strip on the field, they're probably playing today, considering they lost by a last-second field goal, missing all of those pieces.
Yeah.
Tristan Wirfs out. Like, they ran it back, and rightfully so. They'd probably be looking at another Super Bowl appearance if everything went as planned. It didn't go as planned. He sees all these dudes getting hurt. Like you said, he's bleeding from his mouth. Why? I don't need to do this anymore. We gave it another shot. It didn't work out. I'm going home.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Gronk's next. Because Gronk ain't coming back.
What's the point of that? You know what I mean? Like, for him, he already retired. So
I'll tell you what's very interesting though. That is why this is the prime example of buying a ring is scary. Don't get me wrong. What is the ultimate goal? To get a ring, right? Yeah. That's all we want, right? And we were lucky enough to get one a couple years ago. But when you look at Tampa's situation coming into this year, now let's fast forward one season, Scotty. They got a ring when Tom came here. Let's say Tom's actually done. Gronk's done. Godwin's most likely leaving. Fournette's most likely leaving. AB's gone. What? You have Mike Evans? You're back to where you started.
Yeah. And it's hard to get
Tampa Bay, unless they go and find a quick fix, unless they acquire Rodgers or Ross.
I was just thinking it. Like, what are the odds?
Right, but that's my point. So they got that ring. Congratulations. Awesome. Now what?
A lot of turnover, man. It's going to be hard to, that's speaking even from a cap situation.
Oh, they're out of Super Bowl contention.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what their cap situation is, but how do you get those guys to buy in and want to come back and play with who at quarterback? Like, who?
Right, exactly. Like, let's say Godwin comes back. Who cares? Who's the quarterback?
Right. You're looking at another Jameis situation. Right?
It's just interesting.
They could bring Jameis back
that quickly. It's pretty crazy.
It is. But hey, works out for us. We're in the NFC, so we like to see
Rodgers can go over to the AFC too.
Somebody posed a question. It might have been Vince Quinn on Twitter, and said, if the Eagles traded for Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers leaves the Packers to the AFC, Tom Brady retires, do the Eagles have the best quarterback and the best offensive line in the NFC?
Yeah.
I mean, it's something. It's something to consider, and it makes a ton of sense. But that's off-season talk. We don't have to get into that just yet.
All right, man. I think we spent enough time digging into Tom Brady's retirement so far, and the quarterbacks of our past. But let's get into two effing phenoms, young phenoms at the quarterback position that kick off in less than an hour and a half, Scotty, as the Bengals visit Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs. This game, I don't even know where to begin with this game. So much excitement, a lot of expectations, another great quarterback duel. But when coming off of last week, my expectations are just tempered because what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to outdo last week.
I feel you.
Right? But you have the two guys that could potentially do that. So let me get your initial thoughts on this matchup. I know where your head's at. I know where you're leaning. Don't get me wrong. As a fan, like I said to you weeks ago, once the Eagles were knocked out, I would like to see the Bengals win. I love Joe Burrow. My stance is what I told you earlier in the week. If what Josh Allen did wasn't enough, I don't see what Joe Burrow and Cincinnati could do to be enough. The Bills had the number one defense in the NBA. What can they do this week? StreamYard has lost access to your Facebook account.
Doesn't look like it did.
I don't know, dude. I'll head over to Facebook in a second.
All right. Always something with StreamYard, man. Jeez.
But yeah, man, what's your initial thoughts heading into this game?
Yeah, it's interesting, and obviously where I'm leaning. I think I've made it kind of well known at this point. If you follow me on Twitter and stuff, it's going to be a hell of a game. Now I've seen some people picking like the Chiefs 38. I saw a score of 38-10. I've seen like the Chiefs blowing them out. They're a 7-point favorite, which I think that line is very generous to the Chiefs. They had a hell of a game last week against the Buffalo Bills. They had the number one defense in the NFL, like you said. It's Josh Allen. But I'm looking at this Bengals team, and, obviously the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They're hard to beat in the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes is, impossible to beat in the playoffs. But in my mind, I got to throw all of that out just as much as I got to throw out what the Chiefs did in the regular season by beating or what the Bengals did in the regular season by beating the Chiefs. Right. Obviously, in that game, you're looking at the Bengals. They stopped an 8-game winning streak by the Chiefs. Burrow went over 400 passing yards. Chase went over 200 passing or receiving yards. And it took the world to beat the Chiefs that week, right? And that's what it's going to take today. It will take that. But I think it's my overlying confidence in Joe Burrow. And if there is one quarterback, and I'll put this out there, if there's one quarterback that I think can be at the level of Mahomes or better, I'm not going to lie to you. I think it's Joe Burrow. I told you before the show, I'm absolutely in love with this guy. I'm a fanboy. You can call me a fanboy. You can call me a stan if you want to. I want this quarterback as my quarterback over any other quarterback in the world, man. I'm not lying to you when I say that.
This guy.
Yeah, that's my dude, bro. The cigars, the sunglasses, the swag. This is my guy. It's not just about that, right? It's not just because he's Joe Cool smoking on cigars after wins. It's because last week, when hell has risen to earth and it's all surrounding Joe Burrow, he's getting sacked 9 times. What does he do? He just threads the needle to Jamar Chase in a clutch moment to get a game-winning field goal. It's like everybody in this team is made for that big moment. They got ice in their veins. Joe Burrow's got ice in his veins. The kicker comes out before a 52-yard game-winning field goal and says, I'm about to go knock this down. You guys ready to go to the AFC Championship? Joe Burrow has brought a level of confidence, whether it's Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, all of these young players that they brought into this team. They brought like this level of confidence that I simply haven't seen before. And I guess I'll go ahead and explain to you why I think the Bengals will win this game since I'm already on this roll here. So I'm looking at the Bengals. They've already had 2+ turnovers in each game that they played so far in the playoffs. I'm also looking at the Chiefs defense. This is going to be the worst defense that the Bengals have played throughout the playoffs as well. And so I'm looking at this Bengals offense that simply hasn't exploded against the Raiders, against the Titans. Titans have one of the better defenses as well. And I think today is that opportunity. I think we're going to get the best game that we've seen from Joe Burrow in the playoffs so far. And I think we're going to get it from the rest of the team as well. But really, it's the defense that does it for me on the Bengals. I like their defense more than I like the Bills, honestly. And I know the Bills had the number one defense in the NFL, but the thing about the Bengals defense is that they're opportunistic, and they take advantage of opportunities to get turnovers. In the red zone, they are stout. So what I look at their game plan, and it should be the same exact game plan that they did in week 17, I think it was, when they played the Chiefs in Kansas City and beat them. Let them run the ball. Nothing over the top. Now, we talk about Jonathan Gannon's defense. This is the same type of scheme, except the Bengals have talent on defense. They have a pass rush that can get there. They have Logan Wilson in their linebacking core that can make plays. They have Jesse Bates in the secondary that can make plays in the secondary. I think this team is going to be able to turn the Chiefs over at least twice. That's going to be the key. They got to get 2 turnovers to win this game. And I think Joe Mixon, he presents a level of offense in the running game that the Bills simply don't have. Now, obviously, Josh Allen's a different animal as a running quarterback. I do agree with that. But I have this overlying feeling, Dylan, that this is the Bengals' year. And I'm not talking. Can you hear me? I see my Wi-Fi's acting up.
You're a little blurry, but I got you.
All right, cool. There's this overlying feeling that not only is this the Bengals season, like, is this the Bengals game in the AFC Championship? I have this overlying feeling that it's the Bengals season. Like, they're going to win the Super Bowl. And it's wild to me that to see them come this far. But I look at it similar to the way I looked at the Eagles in the second season of Carson Wentz. I know he didn't play in that playoff run. But sometimes teams do this, and they are able to turn it around that quickly and do what they came to do. This is the ultimate test, though. This is Patrick Mahomes, and this is the Kansas City Chiefs. This is Tyreek Hill. This is Travis Kelce. These are locked-in Hall of Famers very early in their career. And it's going to be the toughest test that the Chiefs have ever faced, or that the Bengals have ever faced. And I think they're up for it, man. But I'm ready to hear your side.
So real quick, breaking news 4 minutes ago. The Raiders are expected to hire former Pats OC Josh McDaniels as their head coach.
Interesting.
I like it.
I do like that.
I hear you. And we don't get to say this a lot to each other because 95% of the time on this show, we agree. But let me tell you why you're wrong today. You said that Joe Burrow is the one guy that can match or be better than Patrick Mahomes. I'm not disputing that. I love Joe Burrow. However, there is another young quarterback who matched or outplayed Patrick Mahomes 7 days ago and left him 13 seconds on the clock, and it still wasn't enough. Patrick Mahomes doesn't lose, bro. You could argue that if his offensive line isn't beat to shit last year, he's back-to-back looking for a third. He doesn't, the playoff numbers, the regular season numbers, I forget. What's he, Scotty? I saw it the other 82 and 15 or something.
It's a ridiculous
astronomical through his young career so far. He doesn't lose. If they didn't win, if they just had beaten the Bills last week and he didn't play the way he did and he wasn't the Grim Reaper, I would say the Bengals have a shot.
I feel that.
I don't see the Chiefs losing for the rest of the season. He is too damn good. Joe Burrow, I know he outplayed him in week 17 or 18 or whatever that game was. Joe Burrow's, I'm sorry, he's not throwing for 400 some yards in Arrowhead in the AFC Championship. He could do it at home in the regular season. It ain't happening today. That
Dylan, he might.
Line,
that's a 27th ranked pass defense.
Got beat to hell by Tennessee last week. Spagnuolo's bringing pressure today. They're getting home at the Barrow a couple times.
Gonna kill him, man. I'm telling you, big plays today.
And the last thing, you bring up the Bengals defense again. Not disputing that they are surprising me. I don't think it's getting talked about enough. I like their defense. The Bills have the best defense in all the National Football League, and they got smoked. Now, should I just be putting all my eggs in last week's basket and saying, you know, because they beat the Bills the way they did, they're not going to lose today? No, my point is the way the Bengals have to win is exactly what I saw another team do last week to perfection, and it didn't happen. The one way they win is the last thing you said. They have to turn Mahomes over a couple times today. They have to shorten the field for Burrow. They have to get cheap points, we could call it. They have to score touchdowns and not field goals on those short fields.
That's a big
They have to find ways to turn Mahomes over and come away with 6 points when they do so. That is how the Bengals have a chance. I love Joe Burrow. I love Jamar Chase. I love T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon. That team is up and coming, and that team is going to be in the AFC Championship picture until this core gets broken up. They're not doing it today, bro. It's not
about
happening.
to play the Giants.
Not only do I think the Chiefs win, I think they cover. Like, I hate to say it, I think they beat up on the Bengals today. I think they do, bro.
I don't see it, man. I just do not see it that way at all. I don't, man. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, especially, no, I don't see them covering, especially. But, I mean, we'll
He's got it in your head, Scotty. He's in your head.
I'm telling you, he's a giant slayer. You talk about Patrick Mahomes, the Grim Reaper. Look, if they come out and they do what you said, then obviously, yeah, I think it's kind of like a reawakening, I guess you could say, with Patrick Mahomes and myself is like, okay, yeah, there's nothing that's coming that's better, right? Like, that will be where I'm at. Like, if Burrow and this defense can't handle it, like, yeah, that will kind of be where I'm at. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes should probably be at that level anyways, right? He's that good. I feel like everything lines up for the Bengals so well here. And I get why other people don't see it. It's the Chiefs. It's their history, their experience.
Do you want to know why I'm not just BSing you and like breaking your balls here? Because I'm rooting for what you're saying.
I know you are. I know you're being authentic. I know you are.
Yeah,
trust me.
I want that to happen. So come to 6 o'clock tonight. If that happens, yeah, I look dumb here because I'm saying they had no chance. They're not going to win.
I don't think
I'll be happy because it happened.
I don't even say it that way.
I just feel you said a giant slayer. Yeah, this is Goliath. Okay. And David better bring a fucking big sword.
I just think this Bengals team, man, there's something about them. They're different, and they find ways to win.
They're explosive. But to what extent? Huh? But to what extent is enough?
Yeah, we're gonna see, man. It's gonna be.
And now, listen, you could always make the case that the Chiefs shot their load last week. That happens.
That's kind of what I was gonna say,
that could have been the Chiefs' Super Bowl last week. They find a way to win that game. They score. What did they end up finishing with? 40-something, 42 or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah.
They could come out and Mahomes could have a down day a little bit in his terms. You know, they could turn the ball over. They could play a little sloppy early on, and the Bengals find a way to win. That does happen. But I just see what I saw last week. I look back to week 2, 3, 4, 5 of, you know, and we had to talk about it all week long. Me and you were culprits of it as well, just kind of thinking like, man, what is going on with Mahomes? What's going on with the Chiefs? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And just you talk about the ultimate smack in the face. Like, this dude just let spit in all of our faces. Like, you really thought this of me? Like, I'm the greatest in the game right now. And I just think that's, you know, kind of where we're at.
Yeah,
And another thing, as much I love Burrow, I can't stress it enough. I think Burrow right now is top 5 for me. But last week, now don't get me wrong, how old's Patrick Mahomes? Like 25, 26? He's young. So like it's not passing of the torch. I'm not trying to say that. But you just felt like Allen was trying to get over this hump. And with 13 seconds left, it felt like Mahomes, like it was going to be a passing of the torch for a season. You know what I mean? And if the next dude up in Josh Allen in my mind, Mahomes said, no, not today. I'm still on top. I don't see the 5th dude in line taking him down today.
I feel that. I just look at Joe Burrow over Josh Allen, honestly. Like in my
wow.
I really do. I think he's a better quarterback. Josh Allen brings a nice dual threat. I get it. It's nice. He played his ass off last week. There's just something about Joe Burrow, man, and it's that killer. But I get what you're saying. It is. It's the swag. It's the confidence. It's the what he's changed in Cincinnati. But to be fair to Josh Allen, he's done the same exact thing in Buffalo. So it's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting.
Hell yeah.
But I guess I should give you my keys and then I'll give you my score, prediction. So keys for Bengals today, obviously protect Joe Burrow. 9 sacks versus Tennessee last week. That cannot happen again against the Kansas City Chiefs, or it will be a long day for him. Obviously, I said earlier, get at least 2 turnovers. I think that's what it would be in order to change the tide of this game. Obviously, the Chiefs are favorites for a reason. Like that is the case here. So the Bengals have to do some things in order to change that. They had 3 interceptions against Tennessee. They had an interception and a fumble recovery against Las Vegas. So they've been able to do it in both the games so far. Like I said earlier, a little bit of Jonathan Gannon scheme, but I think it works better with the Bengals just because they got better talent. No big plays. You can't give up that slant route to Tyreek Hill. That cannot happen. Those seam plays to Travis Kelce, you got to keep him contained. And trust the red zone defense. That plays a part in that as well as, no big plays. They've been very good in the red zone, forcing teams to take field goals. And then obviously let Mixon eat. That's the difference between the Bills and the Bengals, in my opinion, is the fact that they do have a running back that is good. They have a top 10 running back in their backfield. And hopefully he can eat and they let him get at it, take a little bit of time of possession from Patrick Mahomes. I got the Bengals 35-31. So similar score to the Bills and the Chiefs going into overtime last week when Patrick Mahomes was able to score within 13 seconds. I just have the Bengals not making that mishap. They're going to squib kick it. They have a pretty good kicker, so they're not too dumb there. But 35-31, I got Bengals. And I'll live with it. I'll die on that hill, man.
I respect it. Listen, man, I respect that you are fighting off everybody that's coming up this hill right now.
I get it, man. I get it. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, man. And if they do win this year, obviously they deserve it. And they're one of the best cores that we've ever seen in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest.
100%. But listen, I'll say the same. I'll follow you up. If the Bengals are going to be successful today, they have to get Joe Mixon involved. They have to find ways. Like you could argue that the way Josh Allen played maybe the greatest quarterback game one of the greatest quarterback games I've ever seen, but you're not going to outdo Mahomes like that. Yeah. If you can keep Mahomes on the sideline, if you can manage the clock a little bit more, maybe that's the way to go. So I think Joe Mixon is a huge key here. Joe Mixon's definitely a way to alleviate pressure on Joe Burrow, not get him hit and touch so many times in the pocket, and then winning the turnover battle. And I don't just mean by like one. I mean turning Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs over 2 or 3 times, and you playing a clean game and coming away with 6 points every time you turn them over. I think that's a huge key. 100%. I like the Chiefs in this one. I think that the Chiefs cover. I'm not saying, when I said I think they smack them, I don't mean the whole game. I think it
would be a smack. I mean, covering would be a smack to the Bengals.
But I think by the final score, we're looking at like a 10 to 13 point win, a 10 to 14 point type of win here. And I like the Chiefs. I think Mahomes, we doubted him for far too long this season, and there was reason there. He the crazy no look passes weren't happening. He was turning turning the ball over at an insane clip. They were losing games, but that team, that Mahomes, is long gone. That defense, that Chiefs defense, that was absolutely horrid earlier in the year. that defense is gone. They're a different unit. They're at home. I just don't think it's Burrow and you think it's Burrow and the Bengals' time. I don't think that time is today in Arrowhead. I think a year or two from now, sure. I like the Chiefs to win. I like the Chiefs to cover. Now we get to have some fun with the parlays, though, because I do expect and hope for offense. And Scotty, I'm not going to lie to you. As of right now, I have 3 parlays in for this game.
Okay, let me get mine pulled up here. If you want to go over yours first, I'll get mine pulled up while you're doing that.
So I have just a 3-leg anytime touchdown scorer one. I had the Chiefs with Travis Kelce and Jerick McKinnon scoring, and then Tyler Boyd scoring for the Bengals. 25 pays out 300. It's plus 1,100 odds. Then I have a 4-leg same game parlay. I had Jamar Chase and McCole Hardman finding the end zone. I have T. Higgins for 50-plus receiving yards and Tyreek Hill for 75-plus receiving yards. 25 pays 444. And then I have an 8-leg parlay. Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes each to throw for 250-plus. Joe Mixon the rush for 50-plus. Kelce and Hill to receive for 50-plus each. Jamar Chase 75-plus receiving. Hill and Mixon anytime touchdown scores. Plus 1,100, 50 pays out $600.
I like them. I love the one that we're kind of matching on, which I'll go ahead and read mine to you as well. I got 2 parlays in on this game, and then obviously I have just some money line stuff going on.
Right.
So the first one I have Jamar Chase touchdown, Joe Burrow 250+. I have Patrick Mahomes 250+. Joe Mixon 40+ rushing yards. Jamar Chase 50+ receiving yards, and Travis Kelce anytime touchdown, which comes out to 1162, so plus 1162. We got this one is my the Bengals are winning this shit and going to the Super Bowl. Like this is my Bengals are winning parlay. So I have Cincinnati Bengals money line. I have Jamar Chase touchdown because I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Jamar Chase is gonna go off today. I think he's gonna have one of those games again. Patrick Mahomes 250+. I have Joe Burrow 225+ on this one. I have T. Higgins 40+ receiving yards. Joe Mixon 40+ rushing yards. I have Tyreek Hill 40+ receiving yards. Travis Kelce 40+ receiving yards. And I have CJ Uzomah 25+ receiving yards. And that is at plus 2017. So
wow.
little, yardage things in there. There's a lot of little yardage. And then I just have the one anytime touchdown with the Bengals winning, which is what makes those odds great. But we're gonna see, man. It's a big day for money for sure. I think I can win some of these without the Bengals winning. Yeah. So I'm kind of excited about that as well. I kind of got like situations where even if they lose, I can still win. So that's always good to cover your back that way. But it should be a fun day of football, man. I'm excited.
That's what I did. Like obviously I'm not hitting all 3. I'm shooting for 1.
Right.
I don't like to double up on any touchdown scores.
The chase is a risk.
Because if one bites you, you're done in all of them, right?
Which Jamar Chase did bite me last week, so yeah. I'm riding it again.
So like I said, in the one I have like Chase and Hill, in another I have Hardman and Mixon, in another I have like Kelce, McKinnon, and Boyd. So now obviously not 7 different players, and I'm going to hit all of them right on the head to win all 3. But if one of them can hit, it's well worth it. To try to cover
it just sucks when you have like 2 on each and then like 1 on each hits. Yep. You know what I mean? 100%. It's like you just don't combine them, right? Bro.
Happens all
too
day,
often. Too often.
All right, let's move on to the final game of championship weekend. Which I wish these games were flipped.
I do too.
I know it's normally AFC in the afternoon, NFC in the later slate, but I wish that they looked at the matchups and decided that way, right? But it's going to be a good matchup nonetheless. Don't get me wrong. The NFC West battle of the 49ers and Rams. But obviously, I think the Chiefs and Bengals are the headliner here. I wish that was the 640 game. But we're looking at Matt Stafford versus porn star Jimmy. Jimmy Garoppolo. We're looking at Kyle Shanahan versus Sean McVay. We're looking at what is it now for the Niners, 6 in a row versus the Rams. obviously 2-0 on the season against them. The Rams, McVay cannot find a way to end that streak. Let's talk about it, bro. I know how you're feeling, and I love it because I think all the Publix money is going on San Fran.
Yeah, I think it's like the easy, because they are still underdogs technically.
Yeah.
It's like the easy odds, right? Like they've beat this team 6 times in a row. Like I think it's easy to pick them as like an underdog in this game. Right. My reasons for picking the 49ers in this game are just based off what we've seen this season. So like, obviously I picked the Rams at the beginning of the season to go to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And, you ask yourself, what have we seen from the Rams that makes me think otherwise from thinking that in the beginning? You know what I mean?
Wait, can I cut you off for 1 second?
Yeah.
You know what I hate about like trying to talk about this stuff is when you second guess yourself. You and I both liked LA in the beginning of the season before some of the trade deadline acquisitions. And we get to playoff time and you overthink it. You second guess it. The Rams are in the playoffs and I don't pick them to get to the Super Bowl. I roll with Green Bay. Green Bay gets bounced their first game and San Fran's 1 win away or LA's 1 win away from getting there. And it's like, dummy, you picked it in August. Why didn't you just stick with it?
Stick with it. No, you're right. And I think that's kind of what I think we talked about this a little bit, like us learning as we keep, doing this, making predictions, obviously speaking to the public about our thoughts on football. Like it's just adjustments and, trusting your gut in a sense. Like don't fall in line. Don't, go with the public's opinion. Like I get what you're saying. That's kind of what it is. It's like trusting your initial instinct. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs throughout an NBA season, NFL season, MLB season. There's still a chance, most of the time, especially a team like the Rams, where they're going to fulfill what you thought they would. And they very well might. This game, I'm a little less sure of, which is crazy to say, right? I'm a little less sure of this game when I pick the 49ers than I am when I pick the Bengals. And it is because of probably what I'm not going to steal like your thunder there, but the Rams are due to beat the 49ers. Like it's been long enough, right? But I'll go ahead and tell you why I'm picking the 49ers in this game. And it's because the 49ers identity, they're able to keep games close. Like that's just who they are. Like I don't remember a game in this season where the 49ers lost by like 2 possessions because their defense keeps them in games. The running game keeps them in games. And what it's going to come down to, as it always does, is Jimmy G turning the ball over. But after what I saw them do to Aaron Rodgers, the MVP, quote unquote, obviously Tom Brady, whoever else is in that conversation, but Aaron Rodgers and that MVP, that offense, Devontae Adams, all those weapons that he used all season, the running game, they put up 10 points? Not even 13. 49ers put up 13 points. The Packers put up 10 points against this defense, which is incomprehensible, I feel like. Aaron Rodgers didn't have some terrible game. He didn't, throw a bunch of interceptions. He didn't turn the ball over. They still lost the game. Obviously, the special teams won that game for San Francisco, the special teams and defense. But that's kind of what I'm getting at here is they play so physical. They play smart. They don't they don't shoot themselves in the foot. And they just find ways to win, similar to the Bengals in that sense. But I don't know. I do see the side where the Rams could get the W. I do. But I think that the San Francisco 49ers, that physicality, I think it's just something in their nature. And there's a reason that the Rams haven't been able to beat the 49ers with Jared Goff, with Matthew Stafford, with Sean McVay, right? Sean McVay. And he almost did it last weekend, putting Cam Akers out there after he already fumbled. Goes out there, fumbles a second time. Go out there, you're like running the football almost too much. You're not allowing Stafford to keep his rhythm out there. If he comes out and he does some shit like this against the 49ers, we saw it in the last week of the season, that collapse that the Rams had against the 49ers. And you have to ask yourself, can that happen again? Like, can it happen again, for God's sakes? And I think it can, man. I think it's in McVay's nature. I don't even think it's a Stafford thing. I don't think it's a Cooper Kupp or an Aaron Donald thing or a Von Miller or Jalen Ramsey thing. I think it's a McVay thing, and I think he's going to find a way to lose them this game against the 49ers. I think he crumbles to the pressure against Kyle Shanahan, and it's weird to me. It's weird to me in that sense, but we'll see if the Rams can get over that hump.
All right. I don't get to say this often. No, I'm just kidding. Let me tell you why you're wrong. No. I hear you. Very valid. You think Sean McVay can cost the game for the Rams. I know Jimmy Garoppolo can cost the game for the 49ers. I think Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers cough up the football a couple times today. Listen, you named everybody, right? Stafford, Kupp, Akers, Miller, OBJ, Ramsey, Donald, right? Yes, the Rams have not been able to beat the 49ers. 6 straight, I believe it's up to. That's regular season football. Chips are down. At home. Win and get to the Super Bowl. The better team is going to win today. I know that's not always the case. The Packers are a better team than this 49ers team. Did they win? No, they didn't. But that doesn't happen a lot in playoff football. And don't get, like, I know the Niners are technically hot. I get they beat the Cowboys and then now they beat the Packers, but I don't view them as like this hot streaky team. I feel like the Bengals.
I don't view them
the
like
Bengals
that
are hot in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Like I know the 49ers have won a couple impressive games, but I don't view them as this hot team on a tip. They found ways to win games in these grinded out, tough kind of games. I don't see that today. I think the playmakers for LA make plays. If there's a Stafford, the one thing Stafford cannot do today is turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Stafford has to play a clean game today, win the turnover battle, because I promise you, Jimmy G's turning the ball over today. Find a way to just play within yourself, make the big plays when they're there. Cooper Kupp's going to be there when you need him. OBJ, find a way to get him involved. And Sean McVay, listen, I know Cam Akers is back. I know he's the best running back you got. But you have 2 other willing and capable running backs in Sony Michel and Darrell Henderson, and more so Sony Michel right now, who carried the load for you down the regular season, and you gave him 1 carry last week? That doesn't make sense to me, man. Like use these guys in different ways. Use them out of the backfield in the screen game, pass protection, do whatever you got to do to throw different looks at this 49ers defense, because that's the one thing that will show up today. San Fran's defense will show up today. Stafford's got to find a way to outlast them. And I think if you can get into the third quarter, into the fourth quarter, then I think you can start to open things up. And I think the Rams will win today. It's funny. We had a conversation earlier in the week about, is Matt Stafford a Hall of Famer? Can they beat the 49ers? Yada, yada, yada. This is a game I argued for him. Now, I only argued for him if he finds a way to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. So today is step 1 of that process.
Yeah.
Show me why. Prove me right why I think you can be a future Hall of Famer. Go out and beat this team that your coach and your organization has failed to beat in the last 6 attempts. It's a division rival. You're at home. I know there's a lot of jokes going around that this is going to be a 49er home game. Don't listen to it, dude. Like, you're at home. This is your home turf. Go out and show them why. Ball out. Like, the Rams went out there and we talked about buying a ring earlier with Tampa Bay. This is what the Rams did this year. They don't have a first-round draft pick for I don't know how long, right? This is why you went out and got Von Miller. This is why you acquired Odell Beckham Jr. This is why you brought Matt Stafford in the offseason for this game right here. It wasn't just to get to this point. It was for this game right here and a game in 2 weeks. And I think they show up. I think the big-time playmakers for the Rams show up today. Not only do I think the Rams win, again, I think it's another cover. I know last week was heavily underdogs and road teams. I think it's the polar opposite this week. I think it's the favorites and home dogs that win today. And I think overall, I think the 2 best teams meet each other in the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs and Rams in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I can't argue with any of that. I think what you said about the Rams especially is all true. Like, if they lose this game, it's going to bring a lot of question marks, right? Like, the world's going to be flipped upside down because you brought in Matthew Stafford this season, and he's supposed to be an upgrade. He's supposed to upgrade your offense to get you to the Super Bowl. You were an NFC Championship second-round team with Jared Goff, which in one season, obviously, Todd Gurley was playing out of his mind. They went to the Super Bowl. This team should be better with Matthew Stafford. They should win this game. My thing is, once again, just going back to the 49ers, it's because they're playing the 49ers, Like, that's what it is for me. And the Rams and 49ers reminds me, like, the Rams, like this pretty boy, fashion LA, like, content creator, influencer, gets into a fight with a dude that came from the, he's done well for himself. He had to work for everything he got. Didn't go out and buy like a bunch of players. Didn't go out and buy all these clothes. He hustled in the streets. He had to work for what he's got. He kind of got the, the underground knowledge, the underground skill. And they get in a fight, right? And who you think's going to win that fight? And I just think, the San Francisco 49ers, they're physical, they're dirty, they're grimy. And I think that the LA Rams are like these pretty boys. They can't get physical. It's like whenever Aaron Donald plays anybody but the 49ers, he's the dirtiest, he's the best guy on defense. But when he plays the 49ers, they match him with that physicality and that energy. And that's kind of where I'm at with this game. And it will be great to see the Rams prove me wrong in that sense and prove that they're not soft is what I'm getting at. That's what I'm basically saying about the Rams right now.
This is all about Matt Stafford. Like you said,
cannot have those pick sixes, man.
You brought him here for a reason, and I want to see Matt Stafford, prove me right in this instance. Like a lot of people get on Matt Stafford and hate on Matt Stafford, and I don't get it. And I think he's one of the greater talents that I've seen growing up personally, as far as just throwing the football. Obviously, there's not a lot of winning there, as you mentioned before. He played with the Lions. I mean, what do you want him to do? But this dude is finally starting to get a taste of playoff football, of championship football. And I think in those biggest moments, the biggest superstars come out to play. I think Cooper Kupp's going for over 100 today. I think that Stafford might throw for over 300 today. And I really believe he's going to ball out. But like you said, and like I said earlier, for him to do so, he cannot turn the ball over. He can't. You can't have any of these wild, try to force the ball down the field type of plays, tight windows, off balance throws off your back foot. No, take the plays that are there for you early on. And I promise you, as the game develops, you're going to find Cooper Kupp. You're going to find Van Jefferson. You're going to find OBJ streaking down the field and taking the lid off of the defense. I do. I like the Rams today, Scotty, and I love it. Like, I like being I know a lot of people do because there's the jinx of the national, like when they all pick the same team to win and there's the jinx, right? But growing up, I loved when that was against the Eagles, even before this became like a social media jinx, right? And betting jinx. I loved it. And today I'm just looking. I haven't looked at where all the money's going, but just seeing social media, talking in the DSM chat, I know where 85% of the public's money is going. And I promise you it's going on that streak. All streaks come to an end. And I think today is the day that streak comes to an end. I like Stafford. I like the Rams. And I like them to cover. Shall we get to our parlays before we wrap this up?
One last question for you I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Who do you think has like a better defense out of these two teams? Because they both got pretty solid, really not pretty.
The Rams have more playmakers.
Yeah.
The Niners scheme matched with Nick Bosa and a healthy Fred Warner, and they've got playmakers too.
I know.
I think the Rams secondary is better.
Their secondary, that's where they have the advantage, I think.
And I think that's where you're going to have to win this game because, like I said, and that's where I think, Scott, like I said, dude, in the regular season, you can find a way to establish the run and run the ball down the Rams. Do whatever you got to do to win a game. Yeah. A game like today, you have the better quarterback against the weaker secondary, and you have the second quarterback who might like to turn the ball over, playing the better secondary of the two today. I think that's where the game's won. Like I said, I think
Jimmy G's real clutch, though, man.
What's up?
You get to the fourth quarter, Jimmy G turns it on.
That's fine. Not today. Not today. I firmly believe not today.
It's going to be interesting, man. I definitely like if the Rams do win, I could see it in a statement win, like you say, like really breaking through like that mental block of it, breaking through and really turning that streak around. But if it's a close game, I do think it goes 49ers way.
All right, let's get to our parlays for this Niners-Rams game. Obviously, a lot of time to get these in before it starts, but this is the first one I drew up. I'm going to have a couple in, but this one's a long shot, Scotty. It's the one I read to you before we started here.
Yeah.
It's a long shot, but it just seems so nice. Now, and I want to preface this by saying, like, we give these out and people want to tail, they can tail. But you can really throw in any touchdown scores you'd want to in here, and it'll probably come out the same odds, if not better. So what I have is I have the Rams money line. I have OBJ anytime touchdown, as well as George Kittle anytime touchdown. I have Matt Stafford over 1.5 passing touchdowns. George Kittle 25+ receiving yards. Cooper Kupp 75+ receiving yards. And Jimmy G under 230.5 passing today. I do not like taking unders, but in this instance, I will hop all over. And like I said, so these odds, by the way, come out to plus 3,300. You can really put in any touchdown scores you'd like, and it'll be around the same, if not better. I'm going with OBJ and Kittle. Cooper Kupp would probably lower the odds a little bit because obviously he's probably got the best odds to score today, but not, it'd still be a very, very nice payday.
Yeah, 100%. And I do like that one. I may honestly go throw that in if you could shoot that over to. I honestly may go throw that in after the show. Honestly,
let me send this to you, brother.
Because I only have like 1 or 2 in for the Rams game, so I do need one more in there.
I haven't put any in for that game yet. But by the way, I also do. If you parlay, obviously you're the opposite, so your odds will be better since you're the underdogs. But if you do like the favorites as I do today, if you parlay the Rams and Chiefs money line, it's plus 100.
I probably won't do it with that one, honestly. I won't lie to you. That one's the one I'm really, really unsure of. And it's the one I'm not willing to die with, I guess you could say. I'm willing to die with the Bengals. I'm not willing to die with the 49ers. But
I threw 2 bills on, so I'm on
I'm looking at that Rams game. The only thing I may go, if I do slide yours in, I may go against the Kittle touchdown since I already got one in. But mine is looking
that's fair.
Mine's looking like Kittle anytime touchdown. I got Kupp anytime touchdown. Like you said, it does lower the odds. I got Stafford 225+. I got Debo 40+ receiving yards. And I got Kittle 40+ receiving yards. And that comes out to plus 1018.
That's very nice too, dude. Like,
the only one is the only thing I may, and it's probably what I'll do when I put yours in, is go with Kittle at 25 rather than 40. Yeah, that may be the only one that I go with, like against that. But yeah, it's a lot. It's hard, man. It's hard, like choosing which one you want because they all sound really good. Especially when we've been like betting on the Sixers lately with Embiid, where it's all just disgusting and I don't want to touch it. But that's the thing about championship weekend where we're at in the NFL season. These are the best times to bet. Obviously you can go money line if you want to go in these games. These are all going to be tight matchups. These are the best of the best teams. But as far as the talent on the field, you look at each game and you're going to tell me that the Chiefs aren't going to come out and try to go to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. You're going to use your guns today. And that's what I love about the NFL playoffs is you do see the guys that are supposed to go off generally do go off in the games regardless of the win or loss result. And we should see that in there today. But I do love the what was the one that I loved? Oh, who did you say? I love the McCole Hardman touchdown. I do love that one. If he could break one big against the
that'll boost your odds, brother.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. So,
all right, Scott. Listen, man, we
found
a way. We found a way to go for an hour. We somehow did it. We said, this one will be a little shorter, probably like 40, 45 minutes.
Sure.
Nope, here we are 10 seconds away from being on for an hour. But thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you for everyone who commented today. And thank you for everyone that's going to watch this replay. Hopefully our parlays hit if you do decide to tell them. Right? I wouldn't suggest telling them, but they're fun. They're long shots. We throw, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't suggest throwing a ton of money on a plus 3,300 parlay, 8-leg parlay. Okay?
Right.
But you get my point. They're fun.
We got winnings. We got winnings to spend from the week, especially Dylan. But I know I've been on a little bit of a hot streak lately with mine. So I've had a little bit of
this one's interesting, man.
Pringle is interesting. That's
my issue there is he's been scoring a ton. And at a certain point, Is he going to continue it? Like, is Byron Pringle going to continue to score?
And that's one that can like kill you.
You know how mad I would be if I chose Pringle over Hardman now, and then Hardman scored and Pringle didn't. Like,
never go against your initial thought too. That's a great point that you just 100%. Said there with Hardman. Go with your gut always.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this Championship Sunday edition of Turf Talk. As always, we are brought to you live through DSM Media, so check us out at DSM_media on Twitter. Again, our link tree is in our bio to every social media platform we're on. Go check us out on TikTok as well at DSM Media, as we have recently brought on Kata Hot. I still can't say his name without letting out a little laugh there. But
do I have to say it like that every time?
Man, Kata Hot. To help us out with the Twitter page and join DSM Media and come on, pop on some shows. He's bringing you guys content live from the Wells Fargo Center a ton. Dude goes to more games than I've seen anybody be at, maybe besides the Philly sports guy. But Kata Hot is always down there, so check him out as well on TikTok and Twitter. He's the newest member of Team DSM. And, of course, we are also presented by our friends over at Manscaped. Head on over to manscaped.com and use our promo code DSM for your order. You get 20% off and free shipping. Again, that's code DSM, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with your order. For myself, for Scotty, enjoy this Championship Sunday for football. Next week, the Pro Bowl, who cares? And then obviously we'll be back, over the next 2 weeks, leading you into some Super Bowl talk and whatever else we decide to get into. But Scotty, have a great Sunday, my man.
You as
have
well,
a nice day, everybody.
Peace.